Despite recent progress made in the control of HIV and AIDS virus infection, the world still stands at a crossroads in terms of public response to testing and treatment. And today, the World AIDS Day is commemorated all over the world, and the statistics are startling. An estimated 40.8 million people live with the virus globally, and at least 600,000 died from issues related to the infection, and that was in 2024 alone. Well, on Panorama today, our focus will be on issues surrounding the management of the virus, and we'll have a guest to discuss that very shortly. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ruth Aguele. Welcome. Ministers from ECOWAS member states have agreed on a joint plan to repatriate products of African cultural heritage to their countries of origin. This endorsement comes ahead of the 2025 West African Arts and Culture Festival, ECOFest, in Dakar, Senegal, which aims to celebrate West African cultural heritage and explore culture's role in addressing regional challenges. Kelvin Ehunohe reports.
The Ministerial Forum held on the eve of the official launch of the 2025 West African Arts and Cultural Festival, ECOFest. The session followed technical deliberations by cultural experts from member states who presented recommendations on heritage restitution processes across the region. The ministers reviewed and endorsed proposals covering thematic areas, including the implementation of the ECOWAS Action Plan 2027 to 2031 for the return of cultural property, the progress made by member states, and the persistent challenges hampering restitution efforts. The discussions also examined the state of national cultural policies and the effectiveness of institutions responsible for heritage management and the development of creative industries.
This is just what the power of culture and creativity can do. So my committee, ECOWAS Committee on Reparation, has been talking about how the gap between what we do as a committee, what academia is doing, and what the other stakeholders are doing, which it doesn't really draw in the youth. So we've been nursing this idea for so many years now, and finally it has been birthed.
Came the cutting razor of ECOFest 2025, an initiative of ECOWAS and OMOA. ECOFest is poised to become a landmark event on Africa's cultural calendar, fostering a robust foundation for regional integration and creative growth. By celebrating West Africa's rich cultural diversity, ECOFest aims to promote social cohesion, peace and unity, making it a priority event for artists, policymakers and cultural enthusiasts across the sub-region. In Dakar, Senegal, Kelvin Ehunohe, NTA News.
Turning our attention back home, the Lagos State government has taken another major step towards improving food and nutrition security with the unveiling of a biofortified blending machine and the launch of fortified Eco Rice. The initiative was unveiled at the Lagos Rice Mill in Imota and is designed to tackle the growing micronutrient deficiencies and enhance the quality of rice consumed by millions. Joy Ken Akpapuya reports.
Government officials, partners and stakeholders gathered at the expansive Lagos Rice Mill in Imota, Ikorodu, one of Africa's largest, to witness what the state describes as another leap in food innovation. The spotlight was on the newly commissioned biofortified blending plant and the launch of biofortified Eco Rice, both designed to boost the nutritional value of one of the nation's most consumed staples. Rice with essential micronutrients, including iron, zinc, folic acid, and vitamins B1, B3, B6, and B12, a major step in tackling malnutrition head-on.
These are essential minerals that helps in growth, helps in IQ development, helps in immunity, and it's important for children, young adults to have it.
This is a plan that we are currently discussing together with the federal government and together with different states. What we want to achieve is to make sure that we have fortified rice on the plates of those who are the most in need.
So our goal in the whole consortium is to make sure that we provide them with the right tools and the capacity, the knowledge, the training to take this product that has now just been launched with essential vitamins and minerals to the average Nigerian.
With fortified eco-rice now available for consumers, Lagos strengthens its drive toward healthier nutrition and improved food security. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakpuya, NTA News.
The federal government is set to resuscitate the Gongoshi Grazing Reserve in Adamawa to its full potential as efforts are closed for restocking of feeds and grazing. Minister of Livestock Development Idi Mukhtar Meha stated this during an inspection of ongoing upgrading of facilities at the reserve. Yusuf Jaker will tell us more.
Gongoshi Grazing Reserve is one of the 69 grazing reserves in Adamawa State, with a total land area of 9,500 hectares. Digitaria, Brachiaria, and Super Napier grasses have been cultivated in hundreds of hectares of land within the reserve, a testimony that solidified the renewed hope commitment in the transformation of the livestock industry. This is Napier grass cultivated in the center of Gongoshi Grazing Reserve here in Adamawa State. In no distance time, these grasses will be chopped and be presented to pastoralists to give their cattle as part of efforts to integrate them formally into the renewed hope agenda of transforming the livestock industry. Minister of Livestock Development Idi Mukhtar Meha said government will construct art dams, veterinary hospital, clinic and school to aid living of the pastoralists and have access to dry season pasture cultivation.
We are going to rehabilitate these grazing reserves to make them conducive to receive the pastoralists today that are moving from point A to point B. We can cultivate grass here. We can teach them to do it. This is the way to go. We are not banning open grazing. We are transiting in a methodical, gradual manner to rehabilitate grazing reserves between the federal government and the state government to make them conducive for the pastoralists to come here and remain.
Once we dam that stream, it means we can irrigate. And irrigation means you can have green forage all year round.
The minister also taught private ranch in Yola as part of effort to encourage and foster public-private collaboration in the development of the industry. In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Nigeria has recorded a major breakthrough in its fight against HIV, meeting 2 of the 3 global 95-95-95 targets. Now, this is according to the National Agency for the Control of AIDS. Uche Oguchukwu will tell us more.
NACA's Director General Dr. Temitope Ilori says Nigeria is now steadily advancing toward ending AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. This is as new data shows 87% of people living with HIV know their status, 98% of those diagnosed are on treatment, and 95% of those on treatment have achieved viral suppression. NACA also reports a 46% decline in new infections over the last decade, despite global funding cuts, economic pressures, and fluctuating donor supports.
And I must say that our collaboration with the civil society, with the community-led organizations, has further strengthened community systems, helping us to expand access to HIV testing, prevention, and treatment services.
However, persistent stigma, dependence on external funding, high pediatric HIV cases, and underserved, hard-to-reach communities remain challenges.
Bold shifts in HIV programs have been initiated with a focus on integration, sustainability, and mobilizing domestic resources to bridge the fund financing gap.
This year theme, overcoming disruptions, sustaining Nigerian HIV response, call on all of us to rethink, redefine our response, and rise above the challenges of an unstable funding landscape.
The agency is optimistic that Nigeria is close to achieving an AIDS-free generation, but appealed for sustained momentum from all quarters. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has called on youth to take charge of their health first by testing to know their HIV status, seeking treatment early if found positive, and taking a stand against stigmatization. She made the call in her message marking this year's World AIDS Day with the theme Overcoming Disruptions, Transforming the AIDS Response, while noting that Nigeria has made remarkable progress in HIV prevention, treatment and care over the years. The First Lady says efforts to end HIV and AIDS by 2030 must be revamped to ensure an AIDS-free nation where every Nigerian has access to life-saving services, free from stigma and discrimination. Of course, you're aware that today the world commemorates the World AIDS Day. Now, life-saving services have been disrupted and many communities face heightened risk and vulnerabilities. Yet amid these challenges, we know Nigeria has recorded progress, but hope endures in the determination, resilience and innovation of communities who strive to end AIDS. We have in the studio Dr. Daniel Ndukwe. He is the Director of Planning and Policy from the National Agency for the Control of AIDS. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Ndukwe.
Yeah, hello viewers, thank you for having me.
So I'd like us to look at the progress made so far in the country, talking about in ways of combating this HIV and AIDS. We saw the records of 87, 98, 95, and 98 surpassed the 95 targets in the middle. So what were the strategies the agency deployed to reach this feat?
Yeah, I'm happy to say we have certainly made progress. The global target is to do over 95% for each of those three targets that was shown earlier. Where we're a bit lagging behind is in the 87%.
Yeah.
Because and that's a very important target, given the fact that you need to identify those living with HIV to be able to put them on treatment. So that's why I have some challenges. Otherwise, we're doing well. Those we put on treatment, we get them really virally suppressed. And the strategy, especially given the disruption that you mentioned earlier, is the fact that the Nigerian government is taking the bull by the horn. I'm sure you heard recently that the Mr. President made available $200 million. That's some good amount of money to initially address that shockwave, given the policy change in the global landscape for funding. That has gone a long way to help us. What we've also done over time is to try as much as possible to mobilize our stakeholders. That includes the donor community, the implementing partners, relevant institutions of government that have one role to play or the other in HIV response, to mobilize the communities. We have also recently further strengthened our engagement with faith leaders, both Muslim, Christian faith and all, so that they can use their platform that reaches every nook and cranny of Nigeria to begin to pass our messages, telling people to get tested, and then for those who are tested to make sure they get treatment, which is free. And that's another very important one. Treatment has remained free in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You go to our facilities, whether they are tertiary, secondary, or even some primary healthcare facilities, you get your medication for free for treatment, also to prevent mother-to-child transmission. I think this combination of factors and many more has actually helped to make us advance, even though we've not gotten to the end of the response.
Okay, Dr. Ndukwe, despite this progress we're recording as a nation, there are gaps which you also admitted to, especially in rural communities. I know stakeholders, key stakeholders are being engaged, but how do you intend to break that cycle?
Yeah, so our plan, in fact, it's one of the things that was even presented as I'm talking now. I think the program is still ongoing. The main event in the banquet hall in Aso Rock. The community have actually indicated interest that they have a lot to give, but we need to actually further engage with them and empower them. And these communities of those living with HIV have reach in both rural area and any other communities we are thinking of in the Federation. We also have these World Development Committees that we work closely with. One of the strategies we also embarked on, especially to address PMTCT, is to identify relevant people in the local government areas. They understand their local government areas, they understand their wards, and through them we're able to mobilize, especially pregnant women who might be living with HIV. So we identify them. We know that up north, their ANC attendance is not as high in some southern states. Okay. So we want to come through those communities, wherever those pregnant women are found, whether in their homes, traditional-based attendants, or wherever they go for source services. We want to identify them, get them tested, and then for anyone who might be living with the virus, put that person on treatment so that we also prevent mother-to-child transmission. So there are strategies. And like I mentioned, the faith-based community is also very important.
Okay.
There are sadly any Nigerian who does not listen to one imam or pastor or priest, as it were. So we're also mobilizing them through those platforms.
So, but what about the youths, getting to, make themselves available to get tested? I know the margin has increased in terms of people getting to, know their status. But risky behaviors is something one cannot control. But with advance, of course, awareness and sustaining the momentum recorded in these feats, how is the agency going to change that narrative?
So that's a very good, important point you just raised. NACA has actually recognized the key role that our adolescent and young people, for example, play. Nigeria is a young population, so they form very big proportion of our population. And then it's expected that at that age group, people are very sexually active.
Yeah.
And we also know from our data that comprehensive knowledge for HIV is not too good among that population. From our NACE data, we did find that a lot of them did below 50%. Of them have comprehensive knowledge, and that includes knowing how the disease is transmitted and how it is not transmitted. So we are engaging with the youth. One of our strategies going forward is to dwell heavily on social behavior change communication that also bring in certain values of the society. It's not just about having protected sex, as it were. It's also giving dignity to themselves, ability to say no, and also imbibing the cultures and the values of our people. So we are still in the message of saying ABC, you can abstain, you can be faithful to a faithful partner, and then if you must, you can use condom consistently and correctly. And in that strategy, we also identifying very important stakeholders we need to engage, including parents or parent figures, including our education system, right from the secondary school, even primary school level, to begin to pass messages of our values, respect for female gender, and then also use these young people as champions to pass some of the values we have. What makes a man is not the number of women you're able to sleep with. What makes a man is the ability to even protect the female gender, for instance. So there are a lot of strategies, going through parents, going through schools, going through teachers, going through religious institutions to preach that message of prevention and also value for yourself. When I visited Ghana and I saw something very interesting. In that message, they were linking your health to your goal. Now, for example, if I'm a young boy of 15 and I want to be the next Tinubu of Nigeria, I would say that's very good, but you need to be healthy. Yeah. So if you attach your health, the health of the people, to their aspirations, it might make it easier for them to live less risky life and also and healthy life, and of course be able to achieve those dreams.
Okay, Dr. Ndukwe, just before we wrap up, overcoming disruptions and transforming the aid response is a theme. What will be your message for a collective effort to all concerned?
So what I will say to all Nigerians, because the goal of sustainability to us is the ability to provide both prevention services, treatment services to every Nigerian by the government and by the people of Nigeria. So all have a role to play. To the government at the MDAs who have been engaging with them and they know their roles, but to the general public, I want to say this: stigma is still an issue. We know how HIV is transmitted. It's not transmitted from eating from the same plate, drinking from the same cup, using the same toilet. That's not transmitted. It's transmitted from protected sex, blood transfusion or sharing of sharp object, and of course the vertical transmission if the woman living with HIV is not taking our antiretrovirus. Otherwise, anybody living with HIV is as every other normal human being and has a lot to contribute to society. So let's treat them as human beings, because HIV is not a chronic disease. It's no longer a death certificate like some people think it used to be.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ndukwe. We must work collectively to end the stigma and discrimination. Thank you for coming on Panorama.
Thank you very much.
So let's take a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Nigeria's drive to strengthen primary health care as the very foundation of its national health system continues to face real-life challenges in communities across the country. In Bayelsa State, we had a primary health care facility in Ogbogoro, for instance, is a clear example of both the promise and the pressure on the federal government's primary health care program. Ifoma Aikoje reports.
Primary health care centers are the heartbeat of any society. The first point of contact for immunization, self-delivery, malaria treatment, and everyday emergencies. When they work well, communities stay healthier. When they struggle, the absence is felt in most households. In Obogoro community, a suburb of Yenagoa, the capital city of Bayelsa State, that heartbeat comes from just one facility, a PHC built under the Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, and serving as the only government health post for hundreds of residents.
We carry out family planning services, immunization services, nutrition and health services. So we take deliveries too. We don't have any file cabinets, no good laboratory, no power supply.
The health center, I know in the community, I think they are trying, but the only issue is that some admin things are needed from the government because the population is increasing, so some of those facilities is not enough.
If government and relevant authorities can bring the necessary facilities and medications to this center, this small place can give huge results. In Obogoro community, Yanagua, Ifoma Ihoje, NTNU.
Demonstrating its continued commitment to fostering strong ties with the public, the Nigerian Air Force has inaugurated a special intervention project in Kwara State. In a message at the inauguration, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Kelvin Anike, reaffirms the force's resolve to deepen trust and enhance civil-military cooperation nationwide. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya reports.
The Special Intervention and Quick Impact Project by the Nigerian Air Force through the Chief of Air Staff at Jamaatul Nasrul Islam School in Babanloma, Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State, is one of the numerous measures the Nigerian Air Force is putting in place across the country to sustain a cordial trust between the military and the populace. Representative of the Chief of Air Staff, Chief of Civil Military Relations, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gabgwetz, explained that the Nigerian Air Force has over the years been building a strong cordial relationship with the populace, which will not only strengthen trust between the Nigerian Air Force and Nigerians, but will also aid in maintaining peace across the country.
Building schools, providing basic amenities in communities also helps in building trust and then making the Air Force look good in the eyes of Nigerians.
It's anchored on the need for the Nigerian Air Force to reach out to societies around us to know that the Air Force is not only about managing violence, but we also care about their well-being.
If you see something that you appreciate, when you have the opportunity, do it better.
The projects inaugurated include an ICT center, core members lodge, and the staff model nursery and primary section of the school that were all renovated and equipped with the latest state-of-the-art items. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
The growing security concerns along Nigeria's waterways have intensified calls for smarter intelligence gathering and improved technological deployment as part of strategy to strengthen maritime safety. Paul Omukago reports.
The Nigerian Navy's Western Naval Command continues to play a strategic role in curbing criminal activities and safeguarding national assets across its operational areas. The visit of the Flag Officer Commanding and his team to Ondo State highlights the need for deeper collaboration with the government, particularly in the areas of logistical support and enhanced surveillance in key locations across the state.
Ondo State is it's a major player in the strategic calculus of Nigerian economy, given its coastline. Our duty as security forces, especially the Navy, is to be poised, preemptive, and prepared to make sure we share your vision and protect these economic potentials.
The government, the military, and all the security agencies, because security is everybody's business and it's 24/7. There is no time we have to allow any loophole anyway. So we as the government will continue to give you that support.
Beyond maintaining security across the Southwest Maritime Corridor, the Western Naval Command also lends support to various government initiatives aimed at strengthening safety and development in the region. In Akure, Paul Omukago, NTA News.
And next will be sports update.
Team FCT claimed the top position at the first Dragon Shotokan National Cadet Championship held over the weekend at the Package B of Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. FCT dominated the competition by securing 4 gold, 3 silver, and 10 bronze medals, while Delta State secured second place with 4 gold, 2 silver, and 1 bronze medal, and Team Anambra finished third with 3 gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze medals. The 3-day championship featured participants from 11 states and cadet clubs nationwide.
I feel very happy, I feel very excited and accomplished.
Just won myself a gold medal and I'm very happy. I'm dedicating this to my family.
In this championship, as far as the federation is concerned, athletes will be picked from this championship to represent Nigeria in international events.
If we can have between 20 to 30 competitions in a year, national competition in a year, I think our athletes will not be rusty.
The tournament was organized to help prepare the athletes for key upcoming events as the year progresses. In the Nigerian Premier Football League match, the 15 Barrow FC made headlines by pulling off a thrilling 3-2 victory over Kwara United in a match filled with excitement. The home team demonstrated resilience, successfully fending off a late challenge for the visitors to secure all 3 points. In Warri Wolves managed a narrow 1-0 victory against Nasarawa United. At the Lekan Salami Stadium, Shooting Stars SC continued their consistent form with a hard-earned 1-0 victory over El Kanemi Warriors. SY Ikorodi City FC achieved a vital home victory, defeating Abia Warriors 1-0, which keeps their hopes for mid-table stability alive, while in Aba, former champions Enyiba FC showcased their skill and experience, securing a 2-1 win over Enugu Rangers International, and Kun Khalifat FC delivered an impressive 2-0 victory over Plateau United. Lastly, in the English Premier League, Manchester United secured a 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace. Liverpool also achieved a noteworthy away win, defeating West Ham 2-0. Nottingham Forest faced disappointment as they lost 2-0 to Brighton and Hove Albion. In other results, Aston Villa continued their strong performance at home with a hard-fought 1-0 triumph over Wolves. Chelsea and Arsenal ended in a 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge. These outcomes introduce new dynamics to the league table as teams vie for European qualification, mid-table security, and survival. For Sport Update, Amazon Go, NTA News.
We're done with Panorama. Thank you for your time. Do have a beautiful day ahead. I'm Ruth Aguela.
Indelible, even after that.